This is Boxing Tickets NI, and we're joined with Sean McComb. How are you, Sean?
All good, can't complain. Enjoying the good life. Plenty of grub. Few beer. What more do you want?
Oh, you're right, you can't beat it. You're obviously just finished, obviously, your own fighting lockdown, and you've had a wee short break. And I see
Yeah,
you've obviously started this sort of work off the beer a wee bit the last couple of days and keep
that's
yourself
it.
ticking over.
Yeah, I've been back to training now, like, so I done a bit last week and stuff, but not as often. I was only like training one or two, maybe three times a week. Whereas this week I've been consistently training Monday right up to now. I trained this morning there again as well, so I'm back at it and I'm still enjoying my grub, but it means I'm burning a bit off as well when I'm actually training.
Right, right. It'll obviously make it easier. Obviously, fight news comes again. Obviously, with lockdown, we don't know when cards and things are going to be announced for things. So it's always good to stay prepared, sort of, in the background, you
That's
know.
it. You just keep ticking over, and end of the day, we're professional athletes. This is a job for me, and I suppose it's just something you have to enjoy doing. Otherwise, don't do it and find something else to do.
You're right. Obviously, last month, 2-year anniversary of obviously your professional debut. You were actually supposed to make your debut on the Colin Homecoming card in June 2018. But obviously there was issues with licensing. I think obviously your licensing comes through in time. Um, when you sort of look back, I can remember seeing you obviously fight week in the Europa and things like that. And, when you got the news you weren't going to be fighting, I'm sure you were devastated by it.
I was got it. It was the day of the weigh-in, or the day before the weigh-in. Sorry,
Yeah.
we got the call. It was a Thursday night, and I got a call. It was due to a train already, and my weight was made. And Jimmy Conlon phoned me, and he, I met up with Jamie, and he's like, "Bad news for you," and whatever else, whatever else. But he reassured me that it'd be looked after in return of the mistakes that happened. It wasn't Jamie's fault. It wasn't. It was just a bit of an issue with getting the licensing passed on time, as well with the medicals all in one. It's a bit tricky, especially with the British Boxing Board.
Hmm.
But it was heartbreaking and soul destroying, as I sold like 250 tickets or something from the debut, and had a lot of support going. And obviously the day before, then you're running. Then I was like, "Fuck, what am I going to do?" So I was offered everyone a refund. A lot of people did take refunds. Probably about 100 people took refunds, and then the other 150 were going anyway.
Hmm.
We're like, "Look, we're just going to go and make a night of it anyway." So it was a it was a kick in the arse league. But sure, listen, you push on, you put it behind you, and refocus on what's ahead. And like I said, I got well rewarded with a debut on Windsor Park, Frampton, Fee and Fury, and I was on that card. Paddy Barnes world title fight. So what a card to be on for
Unbelievable.
a debut. So
I know obviously you were on relatively early, so you're obviously able to enjoy some of it afterwards. But
yeah,
what place to make your debut? I often think we ever see Windsor Park used again. Obviously, I know the hope for yourself and some of the others is Croke Park's done up and stuff as well. But to have an outdoor venue and that magnitude for your debut, it's surreal.
I know it was good. Brilliant. A first fight in your professional career in a football arena, outdoor venue, something that I've never really done before. I've done it once in the amateurs in America, but it wasn't the same setting in
Hmm.
an arena. Um, Stand by me forever, like, do you know what I mean? And to tick that off for so early in your career is obviously something like very few people can say they've done.
Yep. And obviously, I think it was. The stage was set very early on. Obviously, after Windsor, you know, I think you had another fight maybe in Titanic, and then no, sorry, the next fight you actually had was Amir Khan's Bill in Birmingham.
Yeah. Birmingham, so fought there in the undercard. Um, my game's on relatively early. I asked for it. They're trying to put me on as a float, and I told them I don't want to be a float. I want to just go in and fight. They'll put me on first. And Eddie Harm was like, "If you want to do that, it's up to you." I was like, "Yes, what's the point in fighting a journeyman? Like, who cares? I'm going to beat him anyway. Just
Hmm.
put me in, get me there again." And that's what they've done. But again, watching the rest of the show and the atmosphere and stuff like that, it was I was taken back by it to say like happy days, like this is a massive show, Sky Sports, whatever else, and being around all the big names and all the big egos around the dressing room areas. I mean, Joe Gallagher actually took me on the pads for my warm up because Danny was looking after Stephen Danley as well,
Mm-hmm.
who was on the same show. And his coaches didn't fly over, so Danny looked after Stephen in the corner while he was looking after Stephen Danley. Joe Gallagher was warming me up, he was warming Stephen up. So good experience to being around all them big names and Ricky Hatton and stuff, knocking about backstage, Eddie Hearn. It was all brilliant, like brilliant experience for me.
Definitely was, and obviously, if the year wasn't obviously well, the first 5 months, obviously your debut year, but it wasn't made any better. You then obviously got to go and fight in Boston.
Yeah, it was another thing. That's what I was saying at the start of the interview. I was well rewarded by missing the homecoming by going to Boston, getting them opportunities. Thanks to MTK, giving me platforms to perform on. But again, another big, massive show in America. I was actually one day, George Vaughan, me and my coach's dad, George, was set, and his nephew, Don, who's my number 2 coach,
Mm-hmm.
was sat having like coffee and tea with Freddie Roach one day, just as casual as you like, in the hotel. Andrea, all the like come around, sitting talking away. It was hotel lobby was just surrounded by like superstars, and you like Katie Taylor, and you wouldn't even. It didn't really phase me. Like it was just they're just normal people to me. But when you
Yeah.
look back, you go like that's mad. Like I've never actually really spoke about that to say like I was sitting with Freddie Roach, and I don't get photos with people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, can I get a photo of Freddie? Because at the end of the day, he's a coach, I'm a boxer. It means nothing to me. But in my head, I know I've met the fella, I've sat in his company, I've had a cup of tea, I've had a yarn with him and stuff like that. So they're all good experiences. Like to say, like the legendary Freddie Roach, shared breakfast with him, had a cup of tea with him, had a good conversation with him, and their stuff will stand by it forever.
Definitely. I was going to say sometimes, it's a memory. Sometimes in a few years down the line, a memory will pop up for something and go, I remember that, and it just flashes back to you then, so it's sort of like you delay gratify yourself and what you've actually achieved.
Exactly, that's it. Like again, just none of that's possible without having MTK pushing you on the platforms and looking after you. So happy days, and there'll be plenty more to come. I'm sure of that.
Definitely will be. Obviously, five fights, within, I think it was 5 fights within 4 months. And obviously then you got the fight, you had three relatively, well, two fights in quick succession in the Ulster Hall. You fought in obviously the Cummins Keeler undercard.
Yeah,
You fought in Ulster Hall before in amateurs, I'm guessing, quite a bit.
yeah,
What was it like, obviously in the atmosphere there and obviously in a
unbelievable,
pro show?
unbelievable. Both equally as good as one another. Ulster Seniors is stacked, packed out, completely sold out. Um, the atmosphere is just phenomenal, and obviously in the Ulster Hall and the amateurs, you're in more of a 50-50 fight.
Hmm.
So it's back and forward, and you've half support. So it's like a local fight. It's probably better in the amateurs than it is in the professionals because in the pros, because like for example, I fought Ryan Lindbergh, who's a well-known fighter, beat all top men, class boxer from the MAC. So he's his own support, probably half the Ulster Halls are to support him. And then me from Turf Laws, Holy Trinity, kid coming through, half the Ulster Hall support me. So we've half and half going at it, tit for tat, tit for tat.
Mm.
And the atmosphere was just, from what I can remember, was just unbelievable. You can't even hear yourself think. You can't hear coach even giving you instructions. You're just, but I'm sure if there was ever a local professional fight with myself, I'm sure it would be the same.
Yeah, definitely. I remember obviously the atmosphere in the Keeler Commons, obviously being north v south,
Yeah,
the spine tingling at times. I think we come back the obviously sorry jumping a bit ahead, but going to the Cully and Fitzpatrick fight in February,
yeah.
you sort of had that real hostility that that if a fight didn't go away or decision didn't go away, it could turn into a complete and utter ruckus.
100%. That's what's good. That they're passionate boxing fans. The Irish are passionate boxing fans, and I just believe that we're all, like, I believe we show the best support in the world, and that's why all the shows here are mostly, like, even looking back to the old. I've been to King's Hall shows years ago.
Hmm.
Brian McGee and stuff were fighting. Paul McCluskey. Just like I spoke to Danny. Danny actually coached one of Paul Edwards on a King's Hall show when Brian McGee was fighting for a European title, I think, or maybe a WBA interim world title. And he says to me, I love going to Belfast shows. They're the best shows I've been to in the world. And he's coached at some serious platforms, MEN Arena, like Headland with Derry Matthews and stuff.
Yeah.
He says, nah, Belfast blows everywhere out the water. So the Irish support is phenomenal. Like,
It's not even only in boxing. Sometimes, obviously we look at football and, you look at other sports where, obviously in the Euros and stuff, obviously North and South being there, but they were given the tagline of obviously being the best fans. So it's just something about being from here that just blows everything out of the water. And then when you bring boxing into it, it's
we're just all good people. Sport brings everyone together, despite the differences of politics.
yeah.
Sport really brings us together, like, and I think it gives you a wee bit more passion for the good stuff rather than the negative.
The obviously moving sort of forward, obviously, and then fighting at the Fela last August. Pretty much right in your doorstep. I was actually looking at some photos, and you walking down the road with the army behind you. Sort of, I know you probably spoke about it quite a bit, but did you ever imagine turning pro that you'd be fighting in Falls Park?
Nah, the Falls Park as a venue wasn't even thought of when I was a year into my career. It wasn't even thought of. It was just a possibility of. Do you reckon the Fela could host boxing that year or fighting a Fela at all? Because I remember one year Tommy McCarthy headlined on the Fela,
Yeah,
and I was like, nah, it didn't work. It didn't really work. And then this year, obviously last year,
yeah.
it all came, and I was like, whoa. I was giving the TV slot a good, tough fight against Garrido, and again, another phenomenal platform in front of my home fans here, and basically Turf Lodge. I
Hmm.
walked from the house into the park, and again, another phenomenal memory made.
And obviously, with COVID and stuff kicking in this year, it spoiled the plans of obviously, I think it was being talked of as Mick fighting for world title this year and talk of actually doubling the capacity. I know from being
Yeah,
there, being at it last year, I don't think I left my seat once. I went for a smoke once and I actually had to go, when you're enjoying something, but you have to go to the toilet, but you can't go to the
uh,
toilet because you're scared of missing something.
yeah,
I actually remember going out for a smoke. Dennis McCann was a floater. And by the time
yeah,
it even got to the smoking area, the fight was over. It
yeah.
was
Not
like
gonna lie.
29 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Him, like, he's a phenomenal talent, class talent.
Unbelievable.
So
I've seen him twice now. I've seen him live, obviously seen him in the Fela, where pretty much nothing. And then I've seen him in Birmingham,
yeah,
Okachi card in November. But serious talent coming through.
yeah, it'd be hard to hold him back. They'll have to just let him off release soon. They're trying to hold him back as much as can with his age, but I don't even think age matters to him because he's that good. Like, so,
And you hear him in interviews and stuff, it's not just talent there's knowledge behind it as well. So he knows exactly
he's
what he's
a great
doing.
boxing IQ. Like,
Very, very good. Um, obviously, going back again, obviously from the field, it's obviously going to be hard coming back sort of from that. You had another show, another great step up, obviously October of last year. First time, I think it was a Dominguez fight, was it? You showed great maturity, obviously, and you hit a body shot and took your breath.
yeah,
So you showed really great maturity in that fight, and then headlining Ulster Hall in February.
yeah, just again, just pushed on. Like, couldn't have planned a better start to my career. I could never ever have asked for a better start to my career than what I've had up to now, to be 10-0 headlining with no title on the line and still a full sellout. Me as a headline against an Argentine opponent that no one really knows.
Yeah.
He was dangerous. He had fought at a high level again, but people don't know him. So people don't really want to pay to watch me beating someone they don't know up, or do you know what I mean? So, but the support I had was able to still sell that place out on a non-title fight. And for me, it was surreal to think like I really do have good support here, and it was probably one of my best performances to date.
Yeah, I can remember obviously because been at the show and coming back home, and sometimes you want to tune back in and see wee bits you maybe missed when I've been typing or things like that. But tactics in that fight, from Danny in the corner, and obviously the game plan just broke them down, and there was nothing they could do.
That's it. It was probably the first fight we ever actually worked on a game plan. Because any other fight I've had, even against the Minguez, I just done what I wanted. And I knew I was going to win them, to be honest. But I was just showing a bit of everything because I'm still learning. So I'm still trying. When I got the 9-0, now I'm getting into 10-0. I'm actually going to stick to what I'm doing. I'm not going to drop my hands. I'm not going to switch stances. I'm not going to go forward, go back. I'm not going to do all these different things. I know I need to just stick to the one thing, and we've done that. And we worked on it through camp, and it paid off on the night.
Definitely did. And I said, cause I remember obviously early on at the start of your career in Titanic, you were sort of, I wouldn't say frustrated in a way, but you were putting the performance in and just weren't getting the stoppages.
Yeah.
And sort of sometimes you're sort of going, what am I going to have to do to blow these guys away? And obviously, as the determination and motivation still been there, they've came, and so's, I think Danny said at times you've been the model pro, you've been like a sponge. Every time he's told you to do something, you've done it at the best of your ability, and it's credit to obviously you and how quickly you progressed.
That's it. You just have to take. You can never stop learning in this game. There's too much people out there who think they know everything about it. They know too much, or they're argumentative towards what they're being taught or what they're being told. But you have to take it in and try it at least, because at the end of the day, you cannot stop learning this game. It's too argumentative. It changes too often. There's too many stages. There's just so much goes on in the boxing that you can never stop learning.
And as I say, the minute you stop learning, then somebody else is overtaking you, and the next thing, all it takes is that one punch, and it's all down the drain. How's life been? How's life been training with Danny in Scotland? Obviously, you've been training pretty much about 2 years there now. Would you say it's a wee bit tougher training now without some of the head cases you had? You had the two Tyrones and Paddy Barnes there. So what's it like been training since? Obviously, they've been away from the gym.
A bit quieter. It's not too bad, to be honest with you. The start, it was a bit odd. The first camp back without them. But midway through the camp, I sort of just found my feet, and I get more time now with Danny. I feel like I'm benefiting a wee bit more from it. I do miss the lads, in all fairness, and around the house, and the crack and the liveliness about the house, and going into town together and doing stuff to get the weekends in and stuff. But overall, it's all good. It's sweet. Like we're still staying in contact. We're all still very good mates, and I just feel like I'm there to do a job. I'm there to box. I'm there to train. I'm there to eat what I have to eat. I'm there to live as a professional, and it doesn't matter whether there's people here or not. It doesn't matter if I'm literally there on my own. I'm there on my own, and I'm there to do a job, and that's it. You sacrifice 8 to 10 weeks of your life in Glasgow, box, fight, get paid, come home. Simple as that.
Yeah, and Glasgow's pretty much like here now, so there's no real change. It's not like you're going to a foreign country to train and different food.
I know. Everything's all good. Like it's just very similar to here. Where we live is boring. Like it's shit. There's nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's but I mean, like I say, your gym's next door to the house we live in, and you just in, train, back to bed, chill out, in, train, back to bed, chill out, and that's it. You're literally there to just train and relax.
It's nearly like the old way. Some did, they used to say that, some of the fighters came from some of the poorer countries. They moved to a country and they slept in the corner of the gym. And they didn't do social media and everything else, and they just lived like a caveman. It's nearly given it a bit more advanced now. You have a gym next door to the house, and it makes everything easy for you.
100%. That's the way it is. People make sacrifices. You hear it through it. all the greats, a lot of the greats, a lot of the foreigners, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, and stuff like that, how they lived, and the rewards came with the sacrifice. So they're living it up now. I'm sure most of them.
Definitely are, and obviously some of them went down really great paths. Um, you know, what sort of looking at some of the notes I'm sort of writing here, and I'm sort of going, public nuisance, Sugar Sean, Bang Bang Gravy Chip. Is there a nickname you haven't been called yet?
They're just all wee catchphrases of mine. Um, I'm well known for one-liners, and it's just people pick up on them, media pick up on them, and then they like to keep that going. I think it's funny because it's a bit of wit, it's a wee bit of crack along the way. Because at the end of the day, you have to enjoy like I said before, you have to enjoy the job, and you have to have a bit of crack with it as well. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it. So it's just wee one-liners along the way that people think it's funny, and there's all, like, even like my girlfriend will go to me sometimes like, where do you get this from? Where did this come from? Like, there's just quick off a mark, and I say stuff, she's like laughs and goes like, where did you get that from? I just don't know. Like, I don't know.
It's the wee thing sometimes that stick, it's like it's really like taglines like Dr. Pepper, what's the worst that can happen? It's the things that people remember, and if it's good memories, then fair play, it's going to keep it going.
That's it. Like, it could be 10, 20 years from now, someone would say, oh, I remember such and such. Remember Sean McComb used to say, I don't know if it was a cracker or whatever. It's just wee things like that.
And obviously the crazy faces you pull, and obviously your last fight in Wakefield, bird is the word.
Bird is the word.
I think you broke Twitter for a day.
It was good. I cracked. It just came to me. I was sitting on the bike. I had my phone on Spotify, and I had the music playing while I was sitting on the bike doing a sweat session the day before the weigh-in, or maybe 2 days before the weigh-in. But one of the guys from MTK texted me saying, "Can you send your ring entrance music across, please?" And I was like, "Fuck off! No, like, I haven't even thought of one yet."
Yeah.
Because I was making weight. I was just sitting, and then I was sitting on the bike in the heat room, sweating it out with a sweatsuit on, just doing a wee light sweat session on the bike. And my phone was on Spotify, and it went on to like shuffle. It was on shuffle, and that song come on, and it just gave me a buzz where I was on the bike, and I was like, I just felt, I'm gonna use that as my ring entrance, and I just shared it straight to him, and says that's my ring entrance music, and he just wrote, ha ha ha, absolute classic. And then no one knew I was doing it because no one had asked me, like, what's your ring song? Like, Danny didn't even ask me. It didn't say nothing to no one. So it was a complete. The only person says to was the guy who asked me, Sheldon, who was doing all the like the video on and the camera side of things and the interviews and stuff over for MTK. He was the only one that knew about it, and the DJ, of course. But no one else knew, so it was a bit of a shock to everyone and a bit of a surprise. So when I done it and the music come on, there was no crowd you obviously go to, so I was just looking at the camera and looking around, and in the venue I just heard everyone laughing, and I was like, oh. But it was good again. Another good memory made.
The reaction out of it on social media, as I say, it's another thing that people's going to remember your career for. When you get the bigger and better things, sort of, do you remember when Sean done this, or do you remember when Sean done that? There's, nearly about the Paddy Irishman joke. It'll be, there'll be jokes and laughs there about Sean McComb boxing, and I guess it brings a bit of humour to, obviously, a lot of sad times for people at the minute with obviously lockdown and everything else.
No, that's it. You just have to make it entertainment, as they always say. It's an entertainment business, but that's just who I am. Like, you know what I mean? It's just out of the ring, out of boxing, in everyday life. I like to entertain people with jokes, with laughs, with never take anything too serious.
Yeah, and that's the best way to be. How's it been? Obviously, fighting. How was it fighting during lockdown? Did you find any difference? Obviously, we're having a lot of amateur experience and stuff. You're probably used to having small crowds and things. So did you prefer it better? I remember I interviewed D. Walsh the other night, and he was saying he actually prefers it, the current state as it's in, because he can give instruction and everything else. So, obviously you like to see fans there, but what did you find of fighting in lockdown?
I enjoyed it. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't switch off. Really, I was fully focused. I didn't get drawn into the fight with the crowd's reactions of certain punches, and I just felt like I really enjoyed it, and I could think more. I'm a real thinker in the ring, a real good boxing brain, and I just felt that allowed me to think and just not switch off with what's going on around me, distractions. Now, when I'm in the ring, I'm always fully focused, but when you feel you've hit someone and the crowd goes and you want to hit them again and again, you love that buzz of the crowd going, so you wanna entertain them as well as perform.
Yeah.
But then you can get complacent and get sucked into a fight, and then it's just not part of what way I box. So as I did, I really enjoyed it, and I preferred it too for boxing reasons,
Yeah.
like in terms of fight.
Was it strange? Obviously, I know you've boxed sparred quite a few rounds with Sarah Osgood. So was it strange? Obviously, then being the opposite end, or just things stayed the same as it always was?
Nah, it was sound. Like it was, to be honest with you, the spars were very tough. Small ring. He's a come forward fighter, and I just stood toe to toe with him in the spars. So I knew that he thought he could probably beat me, but he's probably coming up to my gym 73, 74 kilos, because don't forget he fought at welterweight.
Yeah.
So he's sitting heavy, coming up to my gym in a wee small ring, and I stood toe to toe with him. Suited him, but I'm only looking a good workout out of him because that's what he brought.
Yeah.
He brings a good work with, and he comes to give it a go. But now, I feel, in fact, I know I got the better of him sparring, but they weren't, like, it wasn't all one sided. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was having his wee moments because I was learning to. So in the ring on fight night, I knew, like, I just knew this was going. I knew I was going to make it as easy as I could and just outbox him. And I think after a couple of rounds, he was a bit like, "Whoa, like
This isn't Sean.
this isn't what I expected." So
Yeah.
I knew I was going to get that reaction from him, but he's a gentleman, a nice fella, and I hope in future he can come and help me again sparring, or vice versa. If he's fighting a southpaw and he needs it for whatever, I'll do the same
Yeah.
because he is a nice guy.
And that's what it's all about. As I say, there's no the fight's over and that's it. It's just back to normal. Like Garrido, I think Garrido's probably your biggest fan now. He had you in his
Um,
shoulders after the field and stuff as well. So
yeah,
it's good to see that, because sometimes there's a hate within boxing building a fight up, and then fans don't seem to understand that they can be friends afterwards.
that sportsmanship. That's what it's all about.
It definitely is. Obviously now, moving down to lightweight, what's the idea behind that? I know you spoke quite a bit about your conditioning and stuff with Stephen Floyd. Is it just that it makes sense because you can make the weight, or is it just for opportunities?
No, like I, I I think I think personally, when you start your boxing career, you box till your weight limit, which is what you can make and be healthy. What weight you can box at and be healthy, you may as well do it. Because although I've boxed right up to 11 and 0 as a super lightweight and I performed very well, I've only to take off another 2 kilos to make lightweight, and that's water weight. It's not any extra fat, it's not any extra muscle, it's just extra water coming to your body. And we have strategies in place to rehydrate quicker,
Yeah.
which we can do and still perform exactly how we're performing against smaller guys and smaller frames and later, and me still carrying all the right attributes that I'm carrying now as a super lightweight. So, I mean, you want to be a force to be reckoned with,
Yeah,
however you
definitely.
can do it. And we've done the body composition, we've done the scans, the DEXA scan, and my body will be sitting perfect at lightweight.
That's
And that's
that's
going off an expert in Stephen Floyd, who has a master's in nutrition. So I'll take his word for it and do it. And I know that the benefits from making lightweight I'll be rewarded for whenever I start winning titles, and big promoters and TV are going to look and go, whoa,
where did this
what's going
guy
on
come
here?
from?
Yeah.
As I said, I've sort of spoke with some other ones and stuff on the brain sort of behind boxing nowadays. It's not just going in there with your two hands and your brain and fighting, but it's what goes on in the background, and you know putting together plans to make weights and things like that. It's frightening. It's becoming very scientific now, but it's obviously all for the greater benefit of boxing.
That's what it is. It's science. It's the science behind it now. It's just science and sport, not just boxing, but science and sport is unbelievable. It's something that we've never ever been taught until now, and I think like nutrition, especially in boxing or MMA or weight making sports, is neglected. Everyone's stuck in the old school way of just stick a sweatsuit on and run and train, but then you don't perform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So nutrition's not about making weight. It's about getting the best out of your body every single day based on what you put into it. Put what you put into your body and what you get out of it. So there's no point in eating too much carbs if you don't need them.
Yep.
There's no point in eating loads of protein if you don't need it. You'll only eat what you need for what you're doing that day. And you feel, you feel unbelievably energetic because you can overload on carbs some days. You don't even need them. And you're just sitting feeling, you know what I mean? You don't need it. Like, there's no point in eating it. And then there's days, that's the benefit. So you need to understand what you're eating and why you're eating it. And when you feel how you feel, whenever you do take that path of getting a nutritionist, then you'll understand exactly why you done it to begin with.
Definitely, I say it's scary to think of how it is, but at the end of the day, that's how people become 2, 3, 4, 5 weight world champions. So, at the end of the day, you're gonna go down to where you think you can get to as the least weight, so you can make your way up the weights even more.
Exactly. It'll start at lightweight, picking titles up at lightweight, move into 140 again to where I am at now, pick up titles at 140 and then welterweight. Because I'm 6 foot tall. Just again, Stephen Floyd as a nutritionist will give me the right to pick up them weights, and my S&C coach Mark Rainey will do the right programming in the S&C side of things to build muscle in the right areas, to build my stamina, to carry that muscle in the right areas. And they're two really, really good and important people in my camps, as well as Danny with the
Yeah,
boxing side of things. So I've got the full package, and I'm very thankful and very lucky to have that so early in my career.
definitely. And obviously, it'll help guide you obviously on the path and where you want to go. I think I seen something actually last week. Pete Taylor had actually said that Cully could potentially make super featherweight.
Yeah, I don't know why he's massive. I don't know if that's like just saying how easy he makes lightweight. I know Cully, and I know he has a professional attitude towards boxing and that and nutritional, and he would make weight easy enough, like in fairness to him. Super featherweight would be cutting it tight because I don't think he would have much fat mass
Yeah.
when he's down at lightweight. So when you start taking away muscle, then you're not really a lightweight. You're not really a super featherweight. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, I'd say because you want to be sitting around 6% body fat, 5-6% max, or sorry, at the very
Yep.
least, to be healthy. You go any further than that, then you're unhealthy. You're going into extreme weight cut issues early, and it could be very dangerous.
Definitely, we see a lot of it, quite a lot in MMA, and thankfully we don't see it in boxing because obviously there's more science involved there. But I thought when he said make it super feather, can you imagine, Cully at 6'2", fighting Frampton at 5.5, 5'5", it's like little and large, pretty much. It'd be scary.
Yeah, crazy, it is crazy, but like I say, it's probably just a figure of speech of how easy he makes. In fact,
Weight.
his last fight was 140, so it's probably just how easy he made that.
Yeah, scary. Like, sort of, I don't really want to sort of nearly go back too much, but were you shocked that, I know you obviously teammates with Cully and MTK, and I know you're very close friends with Joe Fitzpatrick, and obviously fought Joe in the amateurs. I obviously I know I've spoken to you and stuff about it before, but were you shocked at how quickly the fight ended?
I very shocked, but I think it was still a 50-50 matchup. He was just caught in a schoolboy error that can happen within a split second. A surprise punch. He went back in a straight line, got caught. Now, if he didn't get caught, that still had the makings to go into a really close 50-50 fight. Either boxer actually got going. Gary just made a surprise attack forward. Boom, 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 boom. a 4-punch attack where I think Cully or Fitzpatrick thought it was only going to be a 2-punch combination, and he followed through with a second attack, caught him, and that's it. And that's how easy it can be. So you need to be fully switched on every second of every. And I think Fitzpatrick didn't get going to even make it, but I still think if he had got going, and if they were to fight again, it would still be another 50-50 fight.
It's
So
sort of, I know some people sort of discredit it, sort of Joe, and obviously what he's done. At the end of the day, Joe's a Commonwealth silver medalist. He's a talented boxer, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he can come back to the sort of form he was in before.
I know 100% he will. Like if he wants, he started maybe business and all there, and he's doing well for himself. So I'd like to see him back myself, and there's still big fights out for him, but that's up to him whether he wants to or he's enjoying being a businessman at the moment.
Definitely. I guess sometimes it's whatever's making the most money, it's going to make. How have you sort of, like, I sort of touched this in the other day. Obviously, the good thing for Lewis Crocker isn't much in social media. You would probably be in the opposite end of that, so you would have probably seen a lot of your fan base and the hype and things like that's going with it. How have you cope with it? Is it just boxing, or you just take it as it comes, or?
It's just water off a duck's back. You just have to take it, and you're going to get to see what comes with support and a lot of praise. It comes a lot of thing as well, a lot of like fake accounts and stuff, like giving you shit, which I'm thick-skinned at. It doesn't even, again, it's nothing. Water off a duck's back doesn't faze me in the slightest. You'll get a lot of people criticizing you on Twitter feeds, you see like someone comes from, nah, I don't think he'll do this, I don't think he'll beat him, and you just go like, that's fair enough. That's exactly what boxing is. I love it.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. All the criticism and all the thing, I'm open to it all, and I know I'm my own biggest critic myself. So I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I need to fix. I know what I will fix, and I think that's just that's what it's all about.
And does a sort of confidence come from sort of fighting on the same cards as some of our great champions we've obviously had?
Probably, I suppose like you probably get a bit of you probably get support off the back end big cards. Obviously, you do. Yeah. Of course, you do. But again, I'm just boxing. I don't care. Like, you either like my style, or you like the way I fight, or you don't. You think I'm good, or you don't. Like, I'm not asking you to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not going out and asking people to come and support me.
Watch me fight.
Like, don't do it if you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Even like people going about tickets and all, I go, listen, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. Even my own mates, I go, look, lads, there's tickets or whatever. If you can't make it for whatever reason, or you are busy, or you can't afford it, lads, do not feel like you have to be here to support me, because I know you support me from wherever you are. Whether you're in the bar, or you're in the house, or you're in the venue. I know you're my mates. Relax, it's all good. You don't have to buy a ticket. And that's it.
And that sort of shows the sort of person you are, Sean. The fact that you're just grounded. At the end of the day, you're now 11-0. You're making waves, and obviously boxing, and you're still Sean McComb.
This is it. That's all.
I think that's sometimes why people will probably latch onto it more. The fact that boxing hasn't changed who you are, and people still remember, memories and stuff from the past.
Yeah, it's just it's always who it will be anyway. Isn't it?
What have you made of the fight card that's obviously been on? I'd probably say that the big inkling I would take from it that Irish boxing succeeded, throughout all the lockdown shows.
Yeah, well, I suppose we've only had one fighter lose so far, John Carl, on a surprise defeat.
Eric as well.
Well, Eric again, but like phenomenal performances, and again fighting both fought a weight above themselves.
Yeah.
So still a big future for both fighters, but 50 cards, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Definitely, and obviously there's another one on tonight, and obviously another good friend of yours, and Big Purple fighting. I actually asked him in his Q&A the other day, why do they call him Big Purple? And I guess sometimes it's probably better off social media as they want it called.
Some things are better off unsaid.
So where would you see, what's next for Sean McComb?
I don't even think the world knows what's next for the world because of what's going on at the minute. So we'll just play it by ear, keep ticking over, keep training, keep enjoying life, keep a positive energy alive, and like I say, I would see if I got an opportunity to fight in 4 weeks' time, I would take it with two hands. Will I get the opportunity? I haven't heard a word yet, and until I do, I'm not even going to think about it. Think
Yeah.
about anything. Think about what I like. I leave everything, and I do the boxing. Jamie's my manager. Jamie does the managing, and that's it. And I trust Jamie with all my heart. So he comes, tells me what's best for me, what I would think, what I do. Let's do it. What do you think, Jimmy? Oh, I think it's a good opportunity. Let's do it. And that's all it is to it. I'll go back to Glasgow, train, and we'll take it from there. Jamie does his job, I do my job. I don't text Jamie, I don't ring Jamie, I don't bust his balls. I just let Jamie do what he has to do, and I'll do what I have to do.
I think obviously the last couple of years, from Jimmy's last fight, and obviously the SSE were obviously he was stopping his world title challenge. They now been a vice president of MTK. It's the great thing I've really seen of it all is Jimmy's a boxer, and now he's in a position to help boxers. So from what I've seen of it, the last couple of years, it's been a breath of fresh air to boxing, and probably that's why the rise of so many Irish fighters is coming because of the great work Jamie's doing in the background.
Yeah, he's witnessed it all at the both ends of the stick, the raw end and the good end, and now he's from giving boxers opportunities from a boxer's view, and like you say, it's a breath of fresh air to boxing. But I'm gonna have to go now because it's nearly 2 p.m. I have to pick my niece up from school. So,
Yep, not a bother. Well, listen, Sean, it was always a lovely chatting with you. We'll obviously catch up with you soon.
yep, 100%. Bang, bang, really chip. Yeah.
Cheers, Sean. Take care.
Yeah.